Good morning, everyone. Clint McLaughlin here, Midwest Market Management. I've got Riley Sykart on with me here today. It is Tuesday, August 18th. Riley, we had some hellacious storms move through over the weekend. That's got the bean market on the rally. What do we got in store for us moving forward?
A lot quieter forecast moving forward. Start off though, I want to show what crop progress was yesterday. Starting out with corn conditions. Um, as a whole, down 1% this week. Current good to excellent ratings on corn is 60% compared to 71 at this time last year. So I think it's becoming more and more evident, Clint, that the crop we had last year is probably not in the cards this year as a country. There's just been enough holes and enough issues that it's not quite up to puff with what the national record setting year was last year. But looking at conditions, there's areas that, as we all know, better and worse than others. The Western belt has continued to worsen. As you look at the good to excellent ratings in those areas, Kansas down 5%, I think, is a key one. Last few weeks, we've mentioned it on this report a couple times. They've been 90 to 100 degrees for multiple weeks now in a row. And we'll have to see here in a minute or two if that trend continues. But then states as a whole in that Western front, not very good to excellent ratings. Central belt's probably in the best shape. And then as you go to the east, they were really wet early and now they've been on the come up. The big issue that you mentioned, Clint, storms hit Indiana very, very hard. Some areas reported 12 to 18 inches of rain. So that's definitely the big reason behind down 5 and the good to excellent ratings there in Indiana. But moral of the story is there's holes in this year's crop, and bean conditions showing the same thing, down 1% as well. Pretty much the same states that were down in corn, down in beans. So that's the moral of the story for condition side of things. Moving ahead here, 1 to 5 day temperatures. As you can see, it's very similar to what we've been looking at for the last 10 days. Very warm temperatures in the south, that creeps into Kansas. Conditions all in the 90s to 100s there, and that looks to stick around. And as long as they've been hot and the rains have been out of the forecast for that region long enough, I think there could be some more deterioration in that area. But I would also say on the flip side, the entire eastern belt, Iowa, Minnesota, conditions in the low 80s and upper 70s, and you can't ask for much better temperature wise than that in the month of August. So with every good, there seems to be a bad on the temperature side right now. 6 to 10 days shows very, very similar numbers. I would like to point out again, though, South Dakota starting to creep back in the 90s there in some areas again. So just continuing to get heat on that western front. So moving ahead here to the precip side, 1 to 5 day. There's some chances of rain today here in the state of Iowa. Looks like very spotty conditions going on. I know that southeast corner, South Dakota, northwest corner of Iowa would gladly take some of that rain if they can get it, but we'll have to find out if that is the case. But other than that, not a whole lot of rain in the system. 6 to 10 days shows a very similar pattern. So I would say for the month of August, this is more of a norm, Clint. Not a whole lot of rain in the forecast, but temperatures, except for the western belt, also look cool to counterbalance it. We always talk about you need heat and you need a dry forecast for a drought to really set in. And western belt has both of those things, but the east and the central, now we're starting to see the drier conditions, but cool temperatures to help moderate it out. So from a national yield perspective, Clint, as you put it into the 1 to 13 day, there's enough rain in the mix to say we're not seeing any major drought concerns in the central and eastern belt. And then I think the western belt, we've already kind of beat everybody into shape on that. There are definitely some major concerns out that way. So national yield perspective, USDA dropped the yield last week, like we know, and the number from going forward on the corn and bean side, it's going to be tough to judge until we get closer to harvest. So with that said here today, Clint, that's all I got.
Yeah, Riley, I guess just to add a few comments while we're on this map here. So this is putting us out to the 31st of August. So by the time we get to the end of this time period here, rains will still be beneficial for some areas, but that's going to be diminishing. And some of the really dry areas of the Dakotas, you would think harvest is going to get pushed forward on that. And so meaningful rains are kind of getting towards the tail end of that window. And then your weather threats past that would actually probably be more of a concern of switching to like a super inundated wet period or early frost. Those are kind of more of the things that would cause, some sort of national yield loss. So I think we're winding down the period of time here in the next couple of weeks for where we really need the rain, and then there will be other things to be watching. Also worth noting here that we will be rolling around. We don't talk about it a lot here, but you're going to roll around on winter wheat planting season, and that is another whole nother problem for the panhandle of Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Kansas. There's a lot of area out there that needs some significant moisture in order to be able to get ready for seeding wheat here in the next couple months. So with that said, again, Clint McLaughlin, Riley Sykard, Midwest Market Management. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back on Thursday to let you know how the week's shaking out. Have a great day.
This material has been prepared by a sales or trading employee or agent of Midwest Market Management and is in the nature of a solicitation. This material is not a research report prepared by of Midwest Market Management Research Department. By accepting this communication, you agree that you are an experienced user of the futures markets capable of making independent trading decisions, and agree that you are not and will not rely solely on this communication in making trading decisions. Distribution in some jurisdictions may be prohibited or restricted by law. Persons in possession of this communication indirectly should inform themselves about and observe any such prohibition or restrictions. To the extent that you have received this communication indirectly and solicitations are prohibited in your jurisdiction without registration, the market commentary in this communication should not be considered a solicitation. The risk of loss in trading futures and/or options is substantial, and each investor and/or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated by simulated historical tests of strategies, is not indicative of future results. Trading advice is based on information taken from trades and statistical services and other sources that of Midwest Market Management believes are reliable. We do not guarantee that such information is accurate or complete, and it should not be relied upon as such. Trading advice reflects our good faith judgment at a specific time and is subject to change without notice. There is no guarantee that the advice we give will result in profitable trades.